Nestled in northern Santa Fe County is a wildlife center working hard to preserve the diversity of animals found in this state. Originally established as a rehabilitation center for raptors, the center soon expanded to include rehabilitation of all indigenous wildlife of New Mexico.
Here at the Wildlife Center, we give wildlife a second chance of freedom. We take in injured, orphaned wildlife from the entire state of New Mexico and get them back into the wild. We also have an environmental education center that teaches the public about the value of the animals and the value of the ecosystems we live in.
During our visit, we had the opportunity to watch a loon receive physical therapy. It was recovering from a broken leg and was placed in a bathtub to get exercise. In the bird room, we found 3 whippoorwills. As these birds normally migrate, their release will be timed with their natural migration cycle. I volunteered to help with feeding. While their food might not look appetizing to us, whippoorwills normally feed on insects and they seem to enjoy their meal.
The Wildlife Center examines every animal that comes in, whether it's a large bobcat or a small newt, like this little creature that was found hitchhiking a ride in a live Christmas tree. After watching the newt get its checkup, we took a walk to see some of the other residents the Wildlife Center was looking after. Staff and volunteers rehabilitate more than 1,400 mammals, raptors, songbirds, and reptiles here every year.
This is Manchado, which means spotted one, which is a Mexican spotted owl. Unfortunately for Manchado, he was hit by a car, and the only injury that occurred to Manchado was that he got a cataract in his eye. And so Manchado can't go in the wild because he's totally blind in this eye, can't see anything. Because he's a deep forest bird and would be flying through the forest, he would not see any objects on this side of his body. And because he wouldn't see objects, he would hit his wing into a tree branch and break his wing, and then eventually die of starvation out in the wild.
From owls to eagles to foxes, the Wildlife Center hosts an incredibly diverse group of animals.
The Wildlife Center has 2 different types of animals. We have our rehabilitation animals that are never on public display. The reason those animals are never on public display is that we cannot ever let them get used to the human. They must always be afraid of us because their worst enemy is us. So the animals we want to see them cowering, we want them hiding, or we want them acting big and vicious. The other animals that you saw on display, the owls that we had out, those are educational animals, and those are animals that will never go back to the wild because of injuries that have occurred to them and can be used for educational programs to help teach you the joys and the beauty of the wildlife we have.
I learned that barn owls have a great sense of hearing. In fact, a barn owl can find a mouse in a school auditorium just using its ears. Isn't that amazing?